Hello everyone, my name's Chris, and welcome to the second episode of my Java programming tutorial. Today we'll be discussing more on printing text, creating variables, and some basic math operations. Once again, timestamps are available in the description for each section of the video. Let's get started. Last time I showed you how to make a Java project, as well as classes and a main method. This will serve as a skeleton for every Java program you write, so it's important to remember how to set this up. For now, all the code we write will be contained in the main method. I also showed you how to use system.out.println or system.out.println to print text to the console. This time, I'll show you another similar function, system.out.print, as well as how both print functions work and their differences. In both cases, the console contains an invisible pointer used to keep track of where your messages should be printed. This works very similarly to a caret. When you call the println function, the pointer advances to print every character in your message and then advances to the next line when finished. This is just like hitting enter on your keyboard, and it happens every time after the entire line has been printed, hence the name system.out.println. The system.out.print command also prints your message like the println command, except it does not move the pointer to the next line after completing the message. This means subsequent print commands will print text on the same line until the println function is used. Let's move on to a new topic now, variables. Today we will discuss three types of variables: integers, doubles, and strings. Integers in Java are whole numbers, negative or positive, just as they are in mathematics. A double is also a positive or negative number, but it also allows for decimal points. Strings are not numbers, but rather sequences of text represented using quotes. For example, the messages we've printed using the print commands were string values. Strings can contain any valid characters you could type using your keyboard, including letters, numbers, and symbols. Let's now look at how to create these variables in Java code. Every variable creation uses the following format. Let's break down this line of code. The first word represents the type of the variable. Integers are represented using int, doubles using double, and strings using string. It's very important to note that virtually everything in Java is case sensitive, so be sure to pay attention to all capitalization. The next word represents the name of the variable. We can call this variable anything we want as long as it follows the following four constraints. First, the variable name must only contain letters, numbers, and underscores, no spaces or any other symbols. Second, the variable name cannot begin with a number, only a letter or an underscore. Third, the variable name cannot be a keyword. Keywords are words used as fundamental syntax for the Java language. You can tell if something is a keyword in Eclipse if it is highlighted purple. Fourth, and finally, variable names must be unique. You cannot declare a variable with the same name as one that has already been created. These constraints also apply to other naming in Java, such as class names. It's convention to start variable names with a lowercase letter and class names with an uppercase letter. The next part of the variable creation is the equal sign. This implies that we are storing the value on the right side of the equal sign into the variable on its left. Next is the actual value to be stored in the variable. As discussed earlier, ints store integer values, doubles store decimal place values, and strings store text between quotes. Finally, we have the semicolon. Most lines of code in Java end with a semicolon, as we've seen with the print functions, and forgetting even one of them can cause errors in your code. Let's look at what else can be done with variables. We can split up a variable's declaration and initialization, like seen here. Notice that when we initialize the variable, or give it a value, we don't need to declare the type again, as it's already been done above. It's also important to note, however, that a variable cannot be used until it's been given a value. Otherwise, you will get an error. We can also store values in a variable more than once. This will change whatever value is previously stored in the variable with a new one. Be careful though, as storing a new value in a variable will erase the original value. Notice here that I'm also printing variables with print statements. This is typically valid and will always work with integers, doubles, and strings, so it's a good way to check the values of your variables. Another thing you might have noticed is how int and double types get highlighted while string does not. This is because ints and doubles are known as primitive types, while string is known as an object type. Primitive types are the most basic form of variable, as they can't be broken down into multiple other data types. Object types, on the other hand, are always composed of primitive types or other object types. String variables are secretly made up of many char variables, another primitive type in Java, meaning they can be broken down. We will discuss char variables and more about primitives versus objects in a later video, but for now, it's not that important to understand. Let's now discuss some basic mathematical operations, including addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Basic math in Java is very simple, and is written very much like it is in ordinary math class. Two operands surrounding an operation. Operands can be numbers or variables, but you must be careful with your operands. When storing a calculation into a double variable, any combination of doubles or ints can be used as operands. When storing a calculation into an int variable, on the other hand, you can only use int values and variables as operands. To remember this, keep in mind that an integer can be rather easily converted into a decimal, but a decimal can't necessarily be converted into an integer without losing data after the decimal point. There are ways around this issue, but this is a good way to avoid it for now. Java also follows the basic order of operations seen in math class, with multiplication and division taking precedence over addition and subtraction. To change this order, you can use parentheses around specific clauses, just as you would in regular math. It's also important to note that Java ignores white spaces and line breaks, so you can space out your code however you'd like, just be sure that it's still easy to read. There's one more topic I want to introduce in this video, and it has to do with the division operator in Java. In math class, before learning about fractions or decimals, you may have learned how to find the remainder of division. For example, 5 divided by 2 is 2 remainder 1. In Java, dividing two integers will simply throw away the remainder, and your answer will always be an integer. If either or both of the operands are doubles, however, the division will produce a decimal result. While seemingly redundant, we will later see that both types of division can be very useful. Let's do a quick review. The print and printline functions can both be used to print out text or variable values, while printline always creates a line break after printing. We learned 3 variable types, 2 primitive ones, int and double, and 1 object type, string. All variables are declared and initialized like so. Mathematical operations in parentheses can be used with int and double variables and values, and these operations work very similarly to how they would in any math class. One key difference, however, is that dividing two integers will always throw away any remainder, while division using one or more doubles will always result in a decimal value. Finally, it's important to note that whitespace and line breaks don't matter in Java, but you should still find a good way to keep your code organized and easy to read. We covered a lot of material in this video, so it's important to practice all the new concepts we went over. In every video, I will leave some project ideas in the description to give you some inspiration for what to make with your new programming skills. That'll be it for this video. Next video we will learn more about math operators as well as the new type of variable. As always, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.